Hi everybody, this is my channel Mimi Heba. Welcome to my channel. My name is Vicky. Thank you once again. Thank you once again for joining me in my channel. As I've mentioned before, in my channel, I share my life experiences and I also share the insights that I've gained through those experiences. And in so doing, my intention, my hope is that there'll be something here that will inspire, that will motivate, that will help you, or that will educate you as we go on this transformational journey here on earth. I just also want to wish you a happy festive period. If you had a break, I hope you had a good time. And as we usher in 2023, I also wish many blessings for the year 2023. And actually, my video today is in reference or is speaking to the year that is ahead of us and how we can start preparing and start aligning ourselves with the year that is ahead of us. And I thought that I would look at one of the tools that I've mentioned in my previous video rather, that supports us, that we have been given, that is at our reach and at our disposal, that allows us or that supports us as we continue on this earthly journey. We are here on this earth to better understand ourselves, to know ourselves, so that we can love ourselves and we can accept ourselves as we are and live authentic lives. And because we come here and forget who we are, and then we get conditioned by maybe our caregivers, society, teachers, we get a lot of messages coming through that are there to, as we grow up, that are influenced from where they're coming from, we can lose touch of who we truly are. And and we get to our adulthood, and sometimes we realize that we are not living in our authenticity, that some of the beliefs that we've picked up, some of the values that we may have gained along the journey are not so much aligned with our true authentic self. So tools that we have been bestowed with by the universe, by God, that help support us support us as we journey back into understanding who we are, they're there within our reach. And one of those tools is numerology. So I thought I'd share how numerology, one particular calculation that you can have, or rather two calculations that you can do that are so simple, that can start guiding you as we start this year. Numerology is based on natural laws, and natural laws are what govern us. They're the ones that they govern our lives. And one of the laws of nature is the law of cycles, and we go through life in cycles. And as we go through life in cycles, we learn lessons. Those cycles are there to give us experience during that time, to allow us to understand, to allow us to reap rewards for maybe actions that we have taken previously, and in some cycles to learn new things, to learn and to grow as that cycle is going. And so numerology helps us to calculate those cycles so that we can be able to understand the energies, the frequencies, the vibrations that are ahead of us, or that we are going through, and how those will present themselves as circumstances, as situations, and how we can best be aware and best be conscious. And that's, it's so key that we are conscious, that we live consciously, that we make decisions consciously, because when we do that, then we are best aligned with our authenticity, we are best aligned with our higher self, with God, with the universe, and that's where we find true happiness, that's where we find inner fulfillment. And as we surrender to these universal laws, or we surrender to God or to the universe, we begin to appreciate all the cycles that come and all the experiences that come as they come, because we understand that that's what cycles are, that sometimes cycles call for us to to be happy or to relax, and sometimes the cycles call for us to put in some work. So depending on the cycles, they are all very relevant and they are all important in our growth and in our evolution. And by us understanding that, there's a less likelihood that we create tension through us trying to resist what those cycles are bringing in the form of experiences. Rather, we embrace the experiences that the cycles bring, even though sometimes those experiences can feel uncomfortable to us. So understanding that can really help us navigate, especially the really tough cycles that we might undertake, and we surely will in this journey. We can embrace them and we can respect them and we can understand the meaning, the greater meaning, and not avoid them, because they are there to serve a purpose in our growth, in our evolution, and ultimately in our happiness. So I thought that I would talk on numerology, and I would talk on a number that we can easily work out, and actually two numbers. But the first number I thought that I can talk about is the universal year number. Now, the universal year number, the way it's calculated is by adding the year that we are moving to. So now we're in 2023. So we add the digits of 2023 down to a single digit. So 2 plus 2 plus 3, which gives you 7. So what that means is, so in terms of cycles, we run from 1 to 9. So the cycles run from year 1 all the way to year 9. And so when we are on universal year 7, so we've moved on from universal year 6, which was 2022, and we've moved into another cycle, it means that the energies will now begin to shift and change in the universal year 7. And so this will mean that we have new lessons to begin to learn, and we have new experiences that will come through. And being aware of these can give us insight when this happens across a year, that we are equipped. We know, we can say, oh yeah, that makes sense. That aligns with it being year number 7. And not only that, we can gain the insight or the wisdom that comes with those events, not only just recognizing the events, but actually asking, what lesson is it that I'm here to learn? Now, the universal year number is a collective number, and that means that we are all experiencing this energy collectively, whether we know it or not. And I'll keep saying that, whether we are conscious of it or not, this is the energy that we are stepping into, that is going to be there. These are the frequencies, these are the vibrations that we're going to be going through in 2023. So when we're talking of a year number 7, what that calls for collectively is, it's calling for, it's one word to put it is inner, or two words, inner reflection. So what that means is, it's calling for us to go within to seek answers. It's a very intuitive year. It's a year that is calling for us to be analytical. This is a year where there's going to be more questions that we're going to be asking ourselves, or that will be asked, and the answers might not look like what we have seen in the past or what we've experienced in the past. And so what that will call for us is to trust our inner wisdom, to trust our intuition. There's so much wisdom we hold within ourselves, but we are too distracted and we're too busy to tap into that wisdom and to tap into that intuition. In a year like this, it's so good. It's such an opportune time, because this year is supporting us as we take time to go within. Those answers will be so readily available to us if we trust and if we listen. So knowing this beforehand, we can begin to when we begin to experience those tough questions that we don't have answers to, or we feel that we are lost, or that we can't find direction in our life, rather than giving up or feeling bad or feeling as though there's despair or there's no hope, we can understand that we've come to the end of one road, and that means that there's the beginning of a new journey for us. And that information we can gain from within if we sit back and listen and trust our intuition. I've mentioned about the power of our intuition, I think in my previous video actually, if I'm not wrong. And this is one of the great, we have so many gifts that we have within our reach that we are so unaware of. But our inner wisdom is our inner navigation system, our GPS system. And as I mentioned before, this navigation system or intuition, first of all, is very unique to every individual. So what my intuition reads for me will be completely different to what your intuition will read for you. And that's why it calls for us, rather than to seek answers outside, is to go within. We are stepping into a world, I don't know if it's just me, but there's so much information that we're being fed with. There's just an abundance of information, and that is great. That I think that's amazing that we have all information within our reach, whereas before we didn't have access to as much information as we do now. The challenge that this can present is not all information is for us, and not all information is for our benefit. And so how do we begin to discern what is meant for us? And this is where our inner guidance, our intuition comes in. This is where we need to tap into our intuition to be able to be aligned with ourselves, so that as we are absorbing all this information that is either being thrown at us or that we are actively, taking in, we understand whether that information is relevant to us or not. Because as I mentioned, as much as we have an abundance of information, there's some information that won't align with where you're going or who you are. And so that you don't have to take on. And the way to best be aware of that, because how do you even know what is for you and what is not, is to have that relationship with your intuition, to have that access to yourself, to your intuition, and to have it on a constant basis. And that's very possible. Living consciously, being able to be mindful, and being able to clear your energy and clear your thoughts helps you to best be aligned with your intuition and best be aligned with your inner guidance. So this energy will call for us to go into solitude. And sometimes I feel like, a lot of the times actually, I feel like solitude gets a bad rap. I know I've witnessed that personally in my life. As I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but the last 3 years for me have been a period where I've been in solitude. And at the beginning it was quite hard because of just the expectation and just the conditioning of when it's wrong to be alone, like you're not supposed to be alone. And because of that, it took time for me to readjust with the idea of spending time with myself and by myself and being in a space of solitude. But once I understood how important being in solitude is, and that's where we find ourselves, and that's where we know who we truly are, and that's where we create beautiful and strong boundaries of who we are, so that we can engage with other people on a wholesome level. It was so illuminating for me. It was such a game changer that now I don't compromise on my time alone. I understand what that does for me. I know what that does for my energy. I know what that does for my understanding and my intuition and being tapped into that. So at a time like this, when we are being called to go into solitude, this might not be a comfortable thing for most of us, as that's not what we're used to. We're used to having busy lives, having a lot that we take on. And so maybe sometimes in some situations the universe might, there might be a requirement, there might be a situation where you find yourself in solitude. It might occur that way, especially if you have, if you've prayed or you put it out there that you want to grow, sometimes when you're growing, that's how the process happens, is things are taken away from you that no longer will align or will assist you in your growth and in your evolution. And so sometimes that looks like you being in a period of solitude. It might be uncomfortable, but that is one, it's conditioning that we have developed as a society, that being alone is closely linked to being lonely, which is not necessarily the case. I've talked about this in my other video, but those thoughts might come up and it might be a space of being uncomfortable, and that's fine. Now, the way to get past that is to sit with those feelings of being uncomfortable. Feel your feelings. And that also speaks to this year, this universal year, which is a year of our emotion, our emotional intelligence, or our emotions. Sit with those emotions, sit with those feelings. Our emotions are our language that speak to ourselves, that our body is speaking to us, and we need to understand that language. And the way we do is by sitting there, listening, and then understanding, unraveling what that is, and peeling the layers so that you can get to the bottom of what your feelings are telling you and what your emotions are telling you, as well as your thoughts. So as there's time to spend in solitude, there's so much wisdom, there's so much strength to be gained from this time. So do not underestimate the power and the impact that solitude can have for you. So this year might call for that. As I mentioned, it's a year of inner reflection. It's a year that that will call for us to seek answers, and this might come or present itself through a steady stream of questions about our lives, questions about ourselves, and questions about life itself. So embrace these questions as they come, and also put it out there, seek answers. The answers are all within us. We have all that we need within us. I'll keep preaching that. We have everything. We go looking for happiness and for things outside of us, but we have everything we need within ourselves. We just have to learn how to unlock those those secrets that we have within ourselves, or know how to retrieve them, and how to engage with ourselves well enough so that we can see them, and we can experience all that we seek, and we can be aware of that which we have within us. So so that's the first number I'm going to talk about. So these are the energies that we'll be experiencing universally. It might present itself in different ways. I'm not going to give examples as to experiences because we don't know. I can't speculate how that might present itself, but the energies in and of themselves, that at the when we're looking at the intention of the experiences that will come through and the circumstances that we find ourselves in, the intention is so that we can go back to within, reflect within, to understand ourselves in a new way, to trust our intuition, to tap into our intuition, and to build that energy up. So seems to be like a restful year, hopefully, as we move forward. But all the same, whatever the case, as I've mentioned earlier in this video, everything that happens so that it is in support of our evolution and our growth. And as we begin to understand that, we begin to appreciate even those situations that are uncomfortable. And the sooner and the better that we do, the sooner they move and they shift. So it is in our best interest to understand the uncomfortable situations and to understand the uncomfortable experiences. And I find that I've switched my questioning from why is this happening to me to what is the lesson that I'm here to learn from this experience. especially uncomfortable situations, have valuable lessons for us to learn. And when we begin to ask that simple question, the answers begin to show themselves and present themselves. And if we listen and if we're willing to make the changes that are needed, whether it's in our thoughts, in our belief systems, and then in our actions, we begin to see some really amazing results unfold in our lives. That's part of natural law, that whatever we put in, we get out, that we manifest from our inner reality. So, once we begin to understand that, we can strategize our lives and align our lives so that we can truly live in our divine purpose and our divine selves. So that's to do with the universal year number. On a more personal note, if you wanted to see how what this year speaks to on a very personal level, you can take your date of birth and your month of birth, add those two numbers, add them up, plus the universal year number. So for example, if you were born on the 10th of the 10th, so you would add 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 0 and then plus 7. So you'd get 9. So that means that your personal year number is 9. And so what you then do is you look at what the energies that are required, or that are, what are the lessons that are being required to engage, or to understand, or to learn, coming from a year number 9, or the themes that will present themselves. And you'll begin to see the patterns show up. This technique, it doesn't fail. Like I mentioned, it happens whether or not we're conscious of it, whether or not we live in denial of these facts, of our awareness of these laws. It happens. So again, it's for us, it's for our own benefit that we understand these natural laws, that we understand these tools, so that we can be able to align ourselves with this universal wisdom and universal law and knowledge that is there, that is available for us. And that is actually what we are meant to be doing. We are meant to be aligning ourselves to the universe, to God, so that we can live happy and fulfilled lives. So as I say, the personal numbers, any number, they run numerologically, they run from 1 to 9. So once you figure out once you've worked out what your personal year number is, you can then go, and see, well, whether it's a 2 or 1 or whatever. You can be able to get a lot more information on a personal level about your own year number and the themes and the lessons that you are getting into, that you're being asked and required to learn and to understand and all. So I will leave this video here. I truly hope there's something here that you can take away, that can help you as you begin 2023. I'm really affirming that this is a year that we can gain a lot of wisdom. We are very much supported in this journey. We are very much intended to be here. It's a good time to be here, despite what other popular belief there might be. It is a good time to be here. And we all are intended to be here, and we are all intended to live happy and abundant lives. So what my hope is that for you and for myself as well, is that we can align with our true authentic selves. We can align with our higher selves, so that we can begin and continue to live our best lives. And that is what my wish is for you, is that 2023 is the best year yet. And I truly believe that it's going to be that for us, especially if we put in the work that we've been asked to. So I'm gonna leave this here. I'll actually leave this with one quote, which is about cycles, and it's also relevant to what I have been talking about in this video, and it goes like this. Life is a process of growing and outgrowing, and what fits snugly today, be it an idea, attitude, or belief, may be entirely the wrong size tomorrow. This was by Sally Brompton. So be comfortable and be ready to challenge any beliefs, especially those that are now limiting, that are outdated, so that you can create new belief systems for yourself and then create a new inner reality that then manifests itself in a new and greater outer reality for yourself. So I hope that quote really encompasses what I was sharing and what I've just spoken to. And I hope something here encourages you and inspires you as we begin this beautiful year of 2023, and as we thank God for the opportunity that we have been given to live this beautiful life. Until next time, I wish you so much love and so much light. Take good care of yourself. If you have anything you'd love to share, I'd love to hear from you, so definitely hit the comment section below. Otherwise, until next time, it's bye for now.